Hello, church. I'm excited to be able to share with you some more about our Bible study follow-up plan. Here's just a short video tutorial that will accompany our plan booklet. A lot more details in this booklet, which you should be receiving as well. And if you are seeing this online and you would like it, just shoot me an email and I will get it to you. The Bible study plan that we are embarking in is one that is based on the concept of the golden rule. We want to treat other people the way that we want to be treated. A lot of Bible study plans, they insist that right away you start trying to get into the person's house, and that frightens people off. After all, most of us wouldn't want a stranger coming into our house arguing theology, would we? So we have a different method. Now, this method was pioneered in Kentucky by a pastor named Pavel Goya, and I thought it would work really well for our church. We will be sending through the mail some invitations to study the Bible. Now, these aren't the exact ones that we're sending because I don't have the copies of them yet, but it'd be something like this. And when we receive those back, they'll be sent into a central place and then they will be mailed to us. At that point, each name will be assigned to a visitation person or visitation team. And the first kind of visit is what we call just an initial handoff visit. They're not expecting you to make a visit, so don't expect to get into their house and spend a lot of time with them, because that'd be rude. They're not expecting that. So what you'll do for the initial handoff visit is you are essentially the friendliest letter carrier that they ever met. So you come to their door, knock on the door, and when they answer the door, you simply say, "Hello, are you Jack Wiley?" "Oh, well, you sent in this request for Bible studies, and so I am here to give them for you. Here's the lesson and the DVD that goes along with it, as well as a letter explaining all about it. Have a real nice day." And then you leave. Notice we didn't ask them to do anything. We didn't ask them if they wanted it. They've already told us they want it. We didn't ask to come in. We didn't even tell them our name. We just said, "Here's what you asked for. Have a wonderful day," and goodbye. The reason for this is this makes people feel comfortable with what we're doing. We're not trying to ask for more than we've been given. We're just saying, "You asked for this." And by the way, you'll want to show them the card that shows that they actually did ask for it with their handwriting. So you showed them their card, and then so they know that you're not just coming by suddenly. Now, if somebody does ask you, "Well, why are you delivering it? I thought it was going to come through the mail," then you can just simply tell them that people get a lot of junk mail, and we wanted to ensure that you would recognize that this wasn't junk mail. This is something that you ordered. Now, the letter explains that you'll be back in about a week to give them the next lesson. You don't need to tell them that. The letter explains how the lesson works. You don't need to tell them about that. They can read through this letter, and it'll give all the details of what is needed. So you'll do 3 or 4 of these visits, just stopping in and saying hello, handing them the lessons. Don't ask them if they've done it before or not, because you're not there to pry. You're not there to push. You're just there to facilitate them. But in the same process, you're building a relationship. Make sure you always have a smile on your face when you come to the door, that you're friendly, not nosy, not peeking in the windows, looking for where they are. Just be genuinely friendly, and each time you visit, you might think of something else to say. Maybe they have a nice decoration on the door. You can compliment them on that, or whatever it is. Just try to come up with something really casual, very short, to bring into conversation. So that's the first kind of visit. You do 3 to 4 of those, and then you'll go into the transition visit, which will be another video. Let me quickly go over some of the important highlights in the workbook here for these initial handoff visits. The first one is you should pray before you leave for the Bible study, not in front of people's homes. Because if you come and drive up, they're likely to know that you're there, and if you're just sitting out there in the car, they're wondering, Who are these people and what are they doing? So say your prayers before you get into the neighborhood, before they see you. That way you can get out of the car and walk right up to the door. And when you do so, you'll want to walk up with a smile on your face. You want to walk up quickly, not like you're running, but like you're happy to be there and joyful, in a joyful sense. If you're just sort of slowly walking around, especially, don't go looking in the windows and peeking around and looking for this or that. That makes people nervous, and we're trying to set people at ease, not make them nervous. When you knock on the door, you want to knock nicely, something like that. You don't want to pound like a police officer, and you don't want to knock softly like you're scared, because they might not even hear that. If there's a doorbell and you want to ring the doorbell instead, make sure you listen for the doorbell to ring, because I've found lots of doorbells don't work these days. And so they may not answer the door simply because they didn't hear you ring the doorbell. So if you ring the doorbell, listen and make sure that you hear it. Only ring the doorbell one time. If you don't hear it ring, then you may want to knock. But you only want to knock one time, because you don't want to seem like you're insistent and trying to push into their house. If they don't answer the door after the first knock, after the first doorbell ring that you can hear, just simply leave and come back another time. Even if you know that there's people inside, don't sit there and insist, or it'll just make them uncomfortable. And somebody who's not happy to have you at their door is probably not going to be happy about the message that you have for them, right? Also, just keep in mind that you are the nicest mailman that they've ever met. That's your goal. A mailman doesn't want to come into the house. He doesn't have anything to push. He just has something to deliver. And for these initial handoff visits, all you have is something to deliver. You don't want to go into the home. Just simply, like I said earlier, just ask, are you so-and-so? Well, you sent in this response card, and here's a letter and the first Bible study and video that you requested. Thank you. Have a nice day. It's just that simple. If they invite you to come in, don't go in. During these early visits, you don't want to go into the house. Just say, well, thank you, but I've got many more cards to follow up on, and so maybe another time. You don't want to leave the door closed, because eventually you will want to visit with them, but initially you don't want to do that. That's asking too much at the beginning. So you want to leave as soon as possible. Don't linger on these visits. You do your business and you leave. Don't ask them if this is a good time to come back next week. Don't anything that would make them have to remember something, to make a commitment that they'd have to remember. Don't go there, because right now you're just trying to build a relationship and get them to trust that you're not trying to push something on them, because so many salespeople are trying to push something on people. We're not selling anything, we're giving it away. You'll want to establish a pattern of visitation. This means you'll want to visit at the same time each week. If they're home at this certain time, they likely will be. Now, of course, if you come back multiple times and they're never home that time, you might choose a different time. But you want to get them used to the idea that you'll be showing up at the same time every week, because you're building a relationship. And the next week when you come back, don't ask them if they did their lesson, because again, that'd be asking them for a commitment. At this beginning part, just congratulate them for their desire to study the Bible and say, here's the next lesson. Have a great day. And so each week you'll be friendly. You might think of something a little bit different that you might comment on. If they have a nice flower in the yard, you might ask them about that. If you can find any similar interests, but keep it short, keep it brief during this time. And so those are the basic highlights. Remember, the personality of the visitor is a lot more important than the exact words that are said. The personality of you as a visitor is more important than the words that you say, because you're representing Jesus in who you are. Remember, we're following the golden rule in this plan. We are only doing to others what we would want done to us. So I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you are willing to step out in faith and watch God work this year through Bible studies. I think it's important that we define what success is in our evangelism, because sometimes we think success is reaching all of Birmingham. Well, we can't do that, but what we can do is what God calls us to do, and then we leave the results up to God. So success in a handoff visit is this: 1, you follow up on the card in a timely manner. 2, you were friendly when you did it. 3, you pray for the person that you are visiting every day. And 4, you send in a brief report saying the date and time that you followed up and a short paragraph, or just even a short sentence about how the visit went. For initial visit, it'll probably be pretty short. So that's success. If you've done those things, you can say that you have succeeded at the Bible study, regardless of whether the person responds immediately or not at all. That's not our concern. Our concern is, are we doing what God has asked us to do? So that is success.